How's it going, guys, and welcome to my rig build video. So, I originally built this rig about 8 months ago, and it took a few days to get it to a point where it was sort of usable, but since then I have made quite a few changes to it. So I've modified some things, I've added some stuff to it, and I've just tried to get it to a point where it is doing exactly what I need it to do. Now, I will show you guys towards the end of this video exactly what it all looks like now. I'll also show you sort of what my studio looks like now. But I will also say that some of the decisions that I made in building this rig might seem a little bit odd at first. The reason for that is this rig was built to do multiple things. It's not just a racing rig. So I had to sort of get it to a point where it sort of does everything, because I do racing in this, I do farming simulator in this, I do flying in this, but I also do my day-to-day work in here. I do my emails in here, I edit my videos in here. So unfortunately I don't have the luxury of a separate desk setup. I would love one, but it's just not possible for me right now. So yeah, I do spend a lot of time in here. I spend 8 to 10 hours a day in the rig, so I had to make it comfortable, and sometimes it's even more than that. So yeah, that is probably why some of it might seem a little bit odd, but it sort of worked out pretty well, I think. I will also mention that I'm very aware of the fact that most of the tools that I used during this build completely the wrong tools for the job. I know this, so yeah, I was just using what I had available to me. For those of you who don't know, myself and my wife moved from South Africa to Ireland about 1.5 years ago, and it took us a while to sort of settle in because Ireland's got a housing crisis and finding houses is almost impossible. So it took us a while to sort of find a house and sort of settle down, and yeah, eventually we did, and I started building the rig. But like I said, I had very limited tools available to me. Most of what I just had for sort of other purposes at the time. So yeah, I wasn't going to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on tools, because then I might as well go and just buy a rig. I was trying to do this as cheap as possible, and it kind of worked out in the end. So yeah, anyway, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So first up is the seat itself. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get a brand new seat, so I had to go for a junkyard unit. And the junkyard units were already taken out of the cars and left outside. Now, being Ireland with a lot of rain, obviously all of them were very, very rusty. So I picked the best one I could find and decided to apply some rust remedy to it, just to prevent more rust from happening. And as you can see here, it actually does a very good job. That is the before, and then of course this is after, and it also leaves a primer finish which you can paint over, which is exactly what I did. Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of rust inside the seat that I can't see, but I just wanted to get what I could, just to sort of extend the lifespan of the seat as long as I possibly could. And I've had it for a good while now, and it's still going great, so I'm very happy with it. Now, next up is the upholstery itself. Again, very dirty. It was quite muddy and all. I gave it a bit of a vacuum, which helped with some of it, and then gave it a good scrub down with a upholstery shampoo, and then came through with a fantastic tool, which is the Bissell extractor tool, and that worked absolute wonders, as you can see here. So of course I went through the same method for the backrest part of the seat as well as the headrest, and I will also say that I did do multiple scrub downs as well as multiple passes with the Bissell on all parts of the seat to get as much gunk out of the seat as I possibly could. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of it. I'll actually give you guys a little clip at the end of this video of the water that came out of the extraction machine to show you what it was like. It was absolutely disgusting. Alright, so now that the seat is nice and clean and drying off, which actually took a good few days, we can get on with building the frame itself. So I'm building this out of wood, and as you can see, my jigsaw is not having a good time. It was very slow cutting with that, but I had very basic tools available to me and I just had to use what I had. Now, this is not the first time that I have built a rig out of wood. I've actually done 2 prior to this, but this was back in South Africa and I had a fully equipped workshop to do it, so it was a lot easier than this. But it was good fun and I think it came out pretty well, and it really is just a rig to tie me over for a while until I can afford to buy a nice aluminium profile rig or something similar. So now I'm just marking out where I want to pre-drill holes. Now the pre-drilling is just to prevent splitting, which actually worked out really well. I did not have anything split on me throughout the build. I did, however, break a few drill bits. I think I broke 2 or 3 because they're only 1 or maybe 1.5 millimeter drill bits, so they do break quite easily. And then of course using the drill to put the screws in, again, not ideal, but it worked out in the end. Again, just working with what I had available to me. So here I am just building a little riser box where the seat is going to go, and this is just to elevate the seat a little bit so that I am in a more natural, more comfortable seating position rather than having my feet straight out in front of me. here I am cutting out the floorboards where the seat is gonna sit and the pedals as well. Now, I did end up carpeting this as well just because it looks nice, but it also feels nice when in the rig to have the carpet there. It also makes things quite a bit more quiet and no creaking or anything. I also went pretty overboard with glue and screws in all areas of building this rig to prevent creaking from happening, because that is generally a problem with wooden rigs. But in this case, it was absolutely perfect. No creaks whatsoever. Nice and solid. And now for a quick test fit of the seat, as well as a beautiful dive down the inside to take the lead and win the race. And then onwards to my very sophisticated bucket method to get the height of basically the table part of the rig correct, and then cleaning up and fitting the legs to hold that all in position. So from here on in, it was basically checking that everything is level and plumb and fixing it in position. And you'll also notice that I have quite a large top on this rig. Now originally it wasn't going to be that big because I was going to slide this underneath a desk that I had, hence why the rig is on caster wheels. I ended up leaving the big top and taking the caster wheels off and putting my monitor and keyboard and Stream Deck and mouse and everything on this top because it was so big. And I was worried that it was going to be a little bit wobbly, but it turned out to be very solid and it worked out amazingly well. I'm very, very happy with it. So unfortunately, that is all of the footage that I have of actually building the rig. And the reason for that is, well, because I kind of forgot. I was working a full-time job at the time and I was sort of working on the rig a little bit here and there, like 15 minutes here, half an hour there, and I just kind of forgot to bring the camera out, so I do apologize for that. But basically what I did after that is I sort of finished up the floor, and then I painted the entire rig black, and then I laid down some carpet on the floor, which is a bit of an odd one, I'll admit, but yeah, I was walking in a shop one day and they had these carpet squares, and I was like, ooh, that might be nice, and turns out it is. It's very nice. It kind of gives it a finished feeling. It's hard to explain. But yeah, it kind of worked out really well, and it also sort of helps because it's a wooden rig. It helps with sort of creaking and stuff, and I have to say the rig is really quiet. It's partly because of the carpet, but also because I just sort of went overboard with screws and wood glue to prevent it in the first place, which worked out really well. So yeah, after that I basically just started adding bits to it. So I added a second monitor, which is just on a stand that I bought, and then to my right hand side I have got basically a platform which swivels out the way so that I can get in and out easily. And again, I'll show you guys footage of this really soon. And then above that, I have got a tablet stand, which I just built out of scrap wood. So the platform is for my joystick, but that is also removable so that I can use my mouse over there. So I stuck a mouse pad to that. So if I take the joystick off, it's a platform where I can use the mouse. Otherwise, I can just sort of use the mouse on the desk. But yeah, the tablet I use with some dashboards. So I use that for like displays and sometimes a button box and stuff like that for farming and flight simulator and racing and stuff like that. I do also have the Stream Deck, so I don't use it as a button box that often anymore. But it's kind of useful for displays. And yeah, then on the other side I have my 8-shifter, and then I also have a little platform where the throttle quadrant is for the joystick. So I have a Thrustmaster HOTAS X on here, and basically what I did is I modified it a bit so that I can have the throttle quadrant on the left and the joystick on the right. So yeah, that works really well. I did also, well, to do that I basically had to cut the cable, and it's a 16-core cable, and I spliced it back together again with 2 Ethernet cables because they're 8-core, but I used Ethernet connectors on that so I can easily sort of join them together or sort of take them apart. And yeah, worked out really, really well. And yeah, other than that, I basically have my mic and sort of headphone hangers and lights and that sort of a thing. And then of course I have a G29. I know that's obviously entry-level wheel, but I like them. I have to be honest, this is the second one that I've owned. And no, the first one did not break. We moved, so I sold it with my previous rig. And before that, I had a G27. So yeah, I had a G27, I had a G29, moved here and bought another G29. I like them. And the pedals are stock G29 pedals. I just took the cover off before I mounted them to the rig. So if I ever want to change anything on the pedals, I haven't yet, but if I want to, it'll be easy to do. Because if I want to take the pedals off at a later date, I have to take everything off the rig to sort of lift it off the floor to get to the bolts. So yeah, that's why the cover is off on that. But they're bone stock. There's nothing changed on them as of right now. But yeah, I kind of want to see how far I can go with the racing as well. I'm gonna get into a lot more racing very soon here, and I want to see how far I can go with the G29 before I sort of move to something else. And yeah, maybe like try and hit 3000 iRating or something. I think it's probably going to be a limiting factor of my skill rather than the equipment, to be completely honest. But yeah, that is basically everything that I have on here right now that I can think of. Sort of keyboard mount that's made from scrap wood as well, and my mic stand is made from scrap wood. So basically all just offcuts basically. I used it to the best of my abilities to make it as comfortable as possible, and this is what I ended up with. So yeah, let's have a look. Well, that is basically my rig, my studio, my setup, and how it all came to be. And I'm very happy with where I am with this at the moment. I think for the amount of money that I put into it, I think I ended up with a really good setup, a setup that I'm definitely happy with. And it is just one of those things, like most things, that the more money you have available, the better it's gonna be. But I also think it's one of those things where even if you have a massive budget, you'll never really be done with it, because there'll always be something newer and better and nicer, and you'll always be able to improve on it. So I think with something like this, it really is more about the journey rather than the destination, and I'm fine with that. I'm very happy with where I am in my journey with this at the moment, and there'll definitely be changes. There'll be a lot of changes and improvements and new stuff. And I mean, I would love to go to an aluminium profile rig just for, if not anything else, just the adjustability of it. It'll be so nice just to be able to change the steering wheel angle or the steering wheel height or the pedal angles. And with this, everything's set in stone. So where it is at the moment is where it's staying, and you're not changing it. So at least not easily. So that would probably be the first thing for me, and then I would love to go to triple monitors as well, and eventually probably upgrade the pedals to something load cell and then a direct drive wheel. But again, for like load cell pedals, I wouldn't put that on here because I would want the adjustability to really get it right. And a direct drive wheel would probably rip this this rig to shreds. So I would have to have something a lot stronger. But yeah, that's all to come in good time. I'm in no rush to get there, but I have no doubt that eventually I will get there. But I'm very happy with how this is at the moment. Like I said, this is the third rig that I've built out of wood, and I've learned every time that I've built one, and this is by far the best one that I've built. So yeah, I'm very happy with it, and yeah, I hope you guys sort of like this. It's a bit of a different style video for me, but yeah, I hope you like my rig and my studio and everything. And as I sort of continue to do some stuff down the line, I'll keep you guys updated and we'll see where it all ends up. But that is going to be it from me for today, guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time.